They have no timeouts remaining.
He causes too many timeouts. That's a technical foul.
They don't have a timeout. They can't do so. I don't think they had a timeout. Did they have the one left? Yeah, they had technical foul.
Welcome to No Timeouts Left, hosted by Coach Klein and Money Mike Phillips. All right, welcome back. This is No Timeouts Left, episode 23. Michael Jordan.
Heyo.
Hey. Hats off to that
That's
number.
my boy.
Yeah, man. What's
Money
going on, Mike? What's been up this week?
I'm here. I'm live, dude.
Yeah, same.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Been working a lot.
Yeah.
Playing a lot of video games as always. You know, you got to create a UFC 3 character every now and then.
Ooh,
Just
there you go.
work your way up, get that belt.
How's Madden going? How's this franchise?
I just kind of up and down. That last, I started a Titans one not too long ago, and it was not. I tried to keep the salary cap on, and I just couldn't keep anybody. It was bad.
That's tough, man. You got to strategize.
Yeah, as soon as I signed Mariota and Henry, it was over. I couldn't get anybody else.
Oh, man. That's a mess. Well, anyways, this week we're going to talk more college football. Week 1 is in the books, and we've got a lot to talk about there. We've got a lot of NFL updates as well. We've got trades galore, notable releases and signings, and we're going to do a little Week 1 pick'em segment. And we're going to go a little head-to-head here, Mike.
Yeah, boy.
See who comes out on top Week 1.
It's going to come down to the only ones we didn't pick are the same.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see. You never know. Week 1's usually the hardest.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. We will cap it off with some baseball talk, more records and milestones, more injuries, notable games of the week, and we'll do a little bit of talk about the playoffs and how it's shaping up. And then we're going to close out with a small segment about some UFC talk. UFC 242, Khabib versus Poirier coming up. And that's gonna
be a banger.
Yeah.
Woo.
That's gonna be a good little talk. That's gonna feature our third co-host and info man, TJ France.
Hey.
So
say what's up, TJ.
We'll have to work on a nickname for him. I'll come up with one.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you come up with one.
We used to actually have a game where we would just make up each other's nicknames, like middle names.
Yeah.
It'd be like Taylor Money Friends, or just but it would be a burn, obviously. I just don't want to roast him on the podcast
we're
right
not
off the
gonna
wham.
do that. All right, perfect timing. Let's head into NCAA Week 1.
Let's get it.
I think it's safe to say that all these fans came out here to watch a game of football.
John, we're in commercial.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making conversation.
All right, let's start things off with number 16 Auburn versus number 11 Oregon. What a game.
That was a hell of a game.
And what a performance by the freshman quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman, right?
True freshman.
Oh, he is a true freshman. Bo Nix.
Yeah. That's a bad dude.
Yeah, that was a great clutch performance.
And Oregon came out of the gate. They were doing.
Yeah. Oregon was not playing around, man. They looked very prepared for an SEC team.
Yeah, they scored 2 touchdowns on 2 of their first 3 drives, and the third one would have been a touchdown had it not been for a drop. Hit dude right in the chest.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Bo Nix proving to be clutch down the stretch of the fourth quarter, leading them to a comeback victory. You got a little stats on Bo Nix there, Mike?
Oh, I got a lot of stats on Bo Nix, man.
There you go. Let's go.
All right. Well, of course, in the first half, he was picked off twice while keeping them. Well, Oregon picked him off twice while keeping him from finding the end zone for the first 40 minutes of the game. I mean, the halftime, the score was 14-6.
Right.
Oregon scored early in the third. Nix, up until about 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, these were Nick's stat line right here. It was 6 of 21 for 91 yards and 2 interceptions, and he was down 21-6. This is 5 minutes left in the third quarter. And that you're having a rough game.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a learning experience for him. You could see him progressing through the game, kind of making the reads and kind of figuring out the defense.
Oh yeah, when he he went into that up-tempo style offense, and then he really caught them off guard that one time. They were trying to switch out their defense. They were making substitutions.
Yeah.
That's when he got that touchdown.
Hey, man, a freshman quarterback pulling that off, a true freshman quarterback pulling that off, moves like that, that's a good sign.
First career touchdown, wide open.
Yep.
And you schemed it open, basically, because you were paying attention.
He had a few well-timed and well-placed throws to bring them back and even ran in a touchdown, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, 26-yard touchdown. That was to win the game. They only had 9 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, no, that wasn't the one he ran in.
That was the throw. Sorry.
Yeah, the run was the one he jumped over the pile and reached over.
Yep, that was a good one.
Awareness 90 for this true freshman?
Oh, yeah. This, I'd say so.
Once he got it.
Sorry, I got excited about the 9-second touchdown. That was a good one.
Once he got into his rhythm in the fourth quarter, I mean, he looked great, man. He was
very
well.
poised.
Yeah,
he was making those that last throw. He even underthrew it. I don't know if he did that on purpose, but
I think he did, and that's what he needed to do.
It was a perfect throw.
I think that was planned. I don't think that was on accident.
Oh yeah, the receiver knew to come back to it. You saw it as soon as the ball went up in the air. The receiver planted that foot, came back, jumped, caught it, turned around, gone.
Yep.
He didn't have to go very far. I think he was on the 3-yard line when he caught it.
It was definitely a great performance, and speaking of great performances, we'll move on to kind of a not-so-hot game. Number 19, Wisconsin destroys University of South Florida in Tampa after a long lightning delay, but the performance lies in running back Jonathan Taylor for Wisconsin. A nice showing of 16 carries, 135 yards, 8.4-yard average, and 2 touchdowns. Two rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns.
The dude was on fire.
Heisman contender? I would say so.
I think Etienne.
I would say Taylor's in there too, and of course Jalen Hurts.
Oh yeah.
And we'll get to that in a minute. Do you think that lightning delay had any effect on USF? I mean, USF's probably on a down year anyways, but I feel like that lightning delay just kind of sucked the momentum out of them because it looked like they were just not there at all.
Oh yeah, I mean that can happen. You can kind of when you're going into a game, you get that adrenaline gets going. But if you have more than 30 minutes to just sit down and calm back down.
Yeah, that can mess you up.
Yeah, it can
goes
you
back
off your game.
The Super Bowl with the 49ers and the Ravens.
Oh, when the lights went out?
When the lights went out. That caused a big delay, and then the game completely shifted.
Then that comes back on your coaching, honestly, in my opinion.
To a point, yeah.
Because your coach has got to keep you focused during those little breaks. I remember even when I was playing in Little League football and stuff, we would have those lightning delays.
Yeah. We'd
go off and sit under the picnic porch thing, the little... I don't even know what those are called, those structures, the picnic tables under them. But we would sit under those, and the coach would always get onto us for, if we started to, play around or mess around. He wanted us focused. Yep. We're going back out there, we're going to win this game.
Yeah.
And so
I would have to add that I would think Wisconsin kind of overmatched South Florida. I don't think South Florida was going to win that game anyways. I just didn't expect them to do that poorly.
No.
Speaking of which, that was their worst loss in their school's history, South Florida Bulls. The score was 49-0.
Jeez.
That was the first time they had been shut out since University of Central Florida beat them 16-0 in 2014. I remember that game. I
would rather get shut out 16-0. Just my opinion. I would hate to get shut out either way, but
right. And speaking of poor performances, why don't you fill us in on a little Georgia State, an FCS team that defeated University of Tennessee in Knoxville. Am I right?
Yep. Guarantano ended the day with 311 yards. He had 2 key turnovers in the fourth. They really kind of sealed our fate. He was quoted after the game saying, "I'm disgusted, to be honest," and so was I, dude.
And I think all University of Tennessee Volunteer fans were not happy about that.
Yeah, this is SEC teams had won 82 straight games as a 25-point favorite. The last time this happened was also a Sun Belt team they also beat an SEC team. It was Mississippi State losing to South Alabama.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know the exact date on that one. I think it was like 2004 or something like that. Maybe even as early as like 14.
Was it that long?
Know.
I don't think it was 2004. I don't know if South
thought there was a
Alabama
4
even
in
had
there
a
somewhere.
football program yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably
Conference. Sunbelt Conference has been on the up and up. I mean, MTSU came from there.
MTSU, yep.
They had to upgrade to a better conference because they started doing too well. But Georgia State's running back Tra Burnett put up Put Georgia State up 28-23 with 8 minutes left. 8 minutes, 56 seconds left. He ended up rushing for 21 carries, 95 yards. Dude was killing it. Tennessee ends up fumbling with 7 minutes left. Gives the ball back. Ellington seals the deal. 22-yard touchdown. Puts Georgia State up 38-23 with about 5 minutes left in the game. So there it all is. Like this is a goal. Georgia State ended up adding a field goal. Tennessee scored a touchdown before the end of the game. Ended up being 38-30. But this is the first loss in UT's history of home openers. So since 1983. That's pretty rough.
How long before Volunteers fans oust Jeremy Pruitt?
This season, if he doesn't wrap it up, dude. Yeah, I mean,
I gotta say he walked into a mess. So it's not entirely on him.
I'm so tired of people saying Guarantano is going to do good when he's not shown us any reason to believe that.
No, and it's just not looking good. So hopefully they can rally and pick it back up.
Yeah, we'll see, man.
Can't be losing to FCS teams.
We'll see. I mean, this is just, it's an embarrassment. Like, the SEC does not lose to teams like this.
Nope.
This is not something.
Nope. And
maybe the Vols join the Sun Belt.
Yeah, and that's something not that, but the SEC beating teams like that was something we'll kind of discuss a little later in the show. We'll move on to number 9, Notre Dame versus Louisville on Monday night. We posted a poll to see who you thought would win that game, and it was probably a fairly obvious answer, but 78% of you said Notre Dame, and 22% of you said Louisville. And looks like the 78%, the majority, was right.
Yeah, Louisville does not have Lamar Jackson anymore, so unfortunately they cannot win this game.
Probably not. Notre Dame wins 35-17. Their quarterback, Ian Book, 14 of 23 for 193 yards, a touchdown, 14 carries, 81 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Then you had their running back, Tony Jones Jr., 15 carries, 110 yards, and a touchdown. But a positive for Louisville, they had 5 sacks. It's a good number on defense to have. 249 rush yards and 2 touchdowns running the ball. So
looks like that was all they could do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some teams do that. At Air Force a few years ago, literally only ran the ball.
That's crazy.
They had the triple option offense there. So
oh Lord, that's like Pee Wee football.
Yeah,
practically.
Not a lot of huge games this week, but we will talk about key games to watch for next week, and we also posted a poll on that. Starting off with number 6 LSU at number 10 Texas, Saturday, September 7th at 6:30 p.m. And that is the first time ever, believe it or not, that the SEC and Big 12 top 10 ranked teams have met or will have met. That's
pretty interesting.
That's an incredible stat considering how long those two conferences have been around.
Jeez.
So,
who you got your money on?
I'm gonna say LSU.
Yeah, I felt like Texas was on the tip of your tongue.
I think there's a possibility that they could pull out a big home win, but I think LSU is going to sneak in there, and it's going to be a close game down to the end. Is what I'm thinking. You also have number 12 Texas A&M at number 1 Clemson. That's a pretty intriguing little matchup there.
Oh yeah,
a little SEC versus ACC action.
Texas A&M's got a bad little quarterback. You never know.
Yeah, and Clemson coming off a hot year, so we'll see who matches up a little better there.
And Lawrence didn't look too hot that first game.
No,
in my opinion.
No,
so
I don't think he did either.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. And then your third option is number 25 Stanford at USC.
It's always a good game.
That would be Southern Cal. Conference rivals, it's always a good game. And we posted a poll on this, and the results the question was, which key top 25 game in week 2 of college football are you most looking forward to? And the results are number 6 LSU at Texas at 74%, number 12 Texas A&M at number 1 Clemson at 20%, and number 25 Stanford at USC coming in at 6%.
So we had them in the right order.
Yeah, we did. So, and that was probably obvious. I mean, that LSU Texas that's going to be obviously the biggest game of the week.
Oh, for sure.
But I could see Texas A&M and Clemson kind of sneaking in there. So
yeah, it's always the ones you don't expect.
Yeah.
I mean, Stanford and USC could even be like the barn burner.
Yeah, it could be. It's almost always a good game. I remember back when Andrew Luck was at Stanford, that was always a good game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So now we'll move on to the NFL news. And like I said, trades, releases, and what they mean going forward, and some signings. And then our week 1 pick'em segment.
So many trades.
Yeah. It was weird. It was just like preseason was coming to an end, and it was like it was the trade deadline.
Dolphins and the Texans just went nuts. Like, what happened?
Yeah, what happened? What happened there? Tell me.
I have no idea. But the Dolphins ended up trading Kiko Alonso to the Saints for Vince Beagle.
Yes, a linebacker yeah, I think it's Beagle. Yeah, a linebacker for a linebacker. Straight up, there were no picks in that?
I don't think so. There might have been. Who knows?
I think there was a low-round pick that came with that, but
maybe we didn't note it because it was just something like a 7th or something.
Yeah, maybe. But it's an interesting trade. So Kiko Alonso has now moved around a little bit.
He had like a couple good years in him.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of fell off.
He didn't totally fall off. He's been up and down. He's still had some good games.
Yeah.
Just interesting to see him on the move again.
Never heard of Beagle, though.
I haven't either, but I would assume that he's a decent player for the value of Alonso.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Dolphins also traded left tackle Laramie Tunsil, Mr. Gas Mask himself, and wide receiver Kenny Stills, and a 2024 and 2021 first-round picks to Houston for the 2020 first-round pick of theirs, the 2021 first and second-round pick of theirs, Julian Davenport, and cornerback Johnson Batamosi.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's a loaded trade. You don't see those a lot in the NFL.
No. And, who comes out on the better end of this? I
don't know. Time will tell on that. At least they did a tackle for tackle swap, and then they did a corner for receiver swap. But
I mean, Kenny Stills was kind of having a little slump there.
Well, Kenny Stills to Houston, man, that could
got
bring him
so much upside.
Yeah,
so much.
I've got to say that's probably going to bolster Houston's offense quite a bit.
Yeah.
You have Laramie Tunsil bringing up the blind side, and then you have Kenny Stills in the slot.
And Deshaun Watson doesn't have to worry about scrambling all the time.
Yeah. Dolphins better make good picks with those picks.
Oh yeah, Texans actually traded a guard to the Chiefs for Carlos Hyde as well.
Oh, wow.
So they're wheeling and dealing.
Oh, Martinez Rankin, that's right. Yeah, so, an interesting move there. So you got, you have Carlos Hyde now with the Texans as well. I mean, I guess Miami and Houston both made a lot of moves.
Oh, yeah.
So, I didn't even really notice that Houston was involved in so much. I did notice Miami.
They were just trying to get rid of everybody. Yeah, I feel like, is it Miami or is it the Texans that are pulling at Oakland right now? You know?
Yeah, right.
Oakland last year just traded away their whole team, it felt like.
Yeah. And then the last trade we'll mention is the Seahawks trade 2020 third-round pick and defensive end, or both defensive ends, Barkevious Mingo and Jacob Martin to Houston again for Jadeveon Clowney.
Sheesh.
What?
What?
What is going on here?
I don't know.
Who is Houston's GM?
It's been known that he didn't like Clowney though. The Bill O'Brien, I think he's the one that's kind of running the show over there.
Yeah, this is true.
Because aren't they in the market for a GM or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know.
Something weird's happening over there where Bill O'Brien has like all the power right now.
That's it. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, you're right. I'm pretty sure you're right about that.
Because he's the one that's making all this happen because he didn't like Jadeveon Clowney.
Right.
I know that.
Well, Clowney in Seattle now. That's an interesting move.
That's dangerous.
Garoppolo's not going to like that.
No.
Oh, you know who's really not going to like that is probably Kyler Murray.
And Jadeveon Clowney.
You better hope he doesn't hit him like he hit that kid at South Carolina.
Jeez.
That career's over.
Man. And Clowney's a run stopper too. The dude can. He can you don't
move.
run to his side.
Yeah,
you don't want to.
Yeah. And Barkevius Mingo going to Houston.
That gives him like.
I mean, that's
like
kind of a decent replacement.
Kind of a stopgap kind of replacement. I feel like.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody just a good body right there.
Yeah.
Somebody half decent.
Yeah.
Because he is on the decline the past couple of years. Everybody said that.
Yeah, that's
We've
true.
all noticed because he used to be the man.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of declines, notable releases from the week. Unfortunately, Damon Sheehy Giuseppe was waived by the Browns. Hate to see it. He had a great story, made an incredible effort, but he did have some turnovers and not so great plays, so I guess it wasn't enough. But hey, he could still have a shot. You never know. Somebody might give him a look.
We'll see what happens. I'll
Receivers
pour one
get
out
hurt
for you.
all the time.
I'm pouring one out for him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And speaking of receivers, Demaryius Thomas released by the Patriots.
And was immediately re-signed.
And immediately resigned a 1-year deal. So I think that might have been a money thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So not a bad move by the Pats, not a surprising move by the Pats. And they get to keep DT.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a receiver to have on your core with Tom Brady.
Yeah, and then you got is Josh Gordon still there? Yeah, you got
and
reinstated.
Josh Gordon, who just got reinstated.
Yeah.
You're right. Nice. And then finally, shady LaShawn McCoy got released by the Bills, but not too long after got signed by the Chiefs, and we'll move on to signings, obviously, with that. LaShawn McCoy now back with Andy Reid.
Yeah. And how do you think that affects Damian Williams? Is that his name? Damian?
I think that helps him a lot.
Yeah.
Why not have an added back to keep the pressure off of you?
Relieve you a little bit.
Nowadays, you don't want to take all those carries. Your career won't last.
I think it's smart that these teams are like really just grabbing these veteran running backs as like a
little filler.
Yeah. Like why not?
Not bad to have.
Why not get somebody that was an all-pro that can teach your current running back, your current starter how to do it? You know?
Yeah. I thought this was really interesting because I was a personal fan of Brian Hoyer when he was with the Tampa Bay Bucks.
He's been solid.
He's a solid backup. That he's kind of like that Neil O'Donnell type almost.
He'll come in and win a couple games and surprise you.
Brian Hoyer signed by the Colts in obvious need of a backup quarterback, and they give Jacoby Brissett a $30 million deal.
Yeah. I didn't look into the.
They're putting their chips in for Brissett.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Might as well pay the man. Yes. Luck ain't coming knocking anytime soon.
Nope. Oakland signs their 4th total quarterback on their roster, and that's Deshaun Kaiser, a name I haven't heard in a while, cut from Green Bay.
They talk about career backups. He's a career third stringer. And I mean, everybody on this Oakland squad is basically a backup.
Yeah, pretty much.
Quarterback-wise.
At this rate, anyway.
It's just not. I feel like Gruden's just kind of just going to throw them all in there and see what happens. You know?
Survivor backup quarterback edition.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Running back Wendell Smallwood, who had been released by the Eagles, signed with the division rival Redskins, and then talked a little trash saying that he can't wait to run all over the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know how TJ feels about that one, but we might allude to that a little later. Jets sign running back Josh Adams.
Not bad.
Not a bad signing.
So the Eagles got rid of 2 of their 18 running backs.
Right.
And then 2 people immediately get picked up.
And then he gets to go behind Le'Veon Bell. Not a bad running back to learn from.
Not bad at all.
Although Le'Veon Bell didn't have the greatest mentor. Got him in all kinds of trouble.
That's true.
Mr. LeGarrette I smoke a blunt. Jared Goff gets an extension for 4 years, $134 million deal, which we just found out right as we started recording the show. This week, news breaks during the show, not after the show.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure something will come up. Anyways, and it's an NFL record of $110 million guaranteed through 2024. What a deal.
All right, Cowboys. You're up, Dak.
I don't know if you want to give the Dak. I don't know if you want to give Dak that kind of money.
I don't, but
I don't know if anybody wants that. I'm not saying anything against Dak. I just don't think he's quite worth that kind of money.
It just seems like
He's got a lot to prove.
Just seems like every year they give like the record-breaking amount of money to somebody that you don't expect. Like, I hate it.
Right. I mean, I could see it being Jared Goff.
I remember when it was Matthew Stafford. Like,
well,
that was a ridiculous contract. His first
been about
big
the
one.
only consistently good thing on that team for the better part of a decade.
Oh yeah, but I remember when he got that big paycheck, it was like nobody else had that, and like all the other better quarterbacks are just kind of looking around like, well, dang, now I got to get paid like that. Like,
yep.
I'm better than this guy.
Yep.
Oh, it's time.
It's time. Week 1 Pick'em segment. Here we go.
Here we go.
Let's start off with the Thursday game. We'll get this episode out just in time. We're recording on Tuesday night, so we got a little time. Green Bay at Chicago. Who you got, Mike?
I got Chicago.
I have Chicago as well.
Yeah. Why?
Why?
What's your reasoning?
I just don't feel like Green Bay has it quite all together yet on defense. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have some trouble.
I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a lot of trouble with Khalil Mack all over him.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm calling for at least one strip sack.
In my opinion, Khalil is a generational performer.
Yeah.
So
he's our Lawrence Taylor. Possibly.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I could see that. So let's see. Then moving on to the Sunday games, you have starting off with Tennessee at Cleveland. I think we both picked Cleveland on that one.
Yeah,
it's hard to pick Tennessee on a straight pick 'em. Spreads are a little different, but this is straight up.
Yeah, I just don't trust Tennessee enough. They always surprise me and end up being like...
Well, my two teams, Tennessee and Tampa Bay, I almost never pick them because when I do, I lose.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But Cleveland, I just think they're going to overwhelm that Titans offensive line. Especially with LeBron being out. Yep. They're just going to put Myles Garrett on that left side and be like, okay, stop him. You know?
Right. Next game, Baltimore at Miami. I picked Baltimore for this one.
I did as well.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson, I think he's gonna have a very consistent game against Miami, I believe.
Yeah. Are we gonna have the same pick every game here?
I don't think so.
No, I think we had some different.
I feel like we're like-minded, but we have some differences.
You picked Minnesota, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I picked Atlanta and Minnesota, so that's our first head-to-head right there. I think Atlanta is gonna overwhelm Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm feeling Dalvin Cook, man.
Yeah,
I like that.
As long as he's healthy, he runs well, man.
He was a killer in college, but he just hasn't been able to stay healthy.
Yeah,
and that wide receiver tandem, like I said in previous episodes, Stephen Diggs, Adam Thielen, they're gonna get theirs.
Yeah, they will.
They just make stuff happen.
And don't forget Julio Jones on the other side.
Yeah, he's a problem.
Yep.
But I think they got good safeties on Minnesota, and I think they got some up and coming corners as well. So I think they'll be all right.
That'll be our first head-to-head of these pick'ems. Buffalo at New York Jets. I picked the Jets.
Me too.
Yeah,
I like Sam Darnold in this one.
Yeah, and Buffalo they
don't scare me.
Yeah, they haven't scared me in a while.
No, not especially after they let go of LaShawn McCoy. I'm like, oh, that's like your only bright spot, really.
Kinda,
he was declining.
Yep. Washington at Philadelphia. I picked Philadelphia.
I had to go Philly.
Yeah.
Everything in me wanted to pick Washington, but
Washington almost falls in the category of Tennessee and Tampa for me.
Yeah. You never really know.
Them, they lose, man.
Yeah. I would rather pick Philly and them lose and me lose a point on that one than me pick them.
When it comes to money, you can't bet with your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
LA Rams traveling from coast to coast to face Carolina.
That was a hard one for me, actually.
Who'd you pick?
I ended up picking the Rams. Of course.
I did too. I think the Rams are still hot, and I don't have enough confidence in Carolina.
I don't have enough confidence in Christian McCaffrey to be able to do everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Because is Cam going to be ready for that game?
Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, Will Greer might be out there.
Could be.
We'll see.
Kansas City at Jacksonville. I think you picked Jacksonville.
I did.
You picked. Okay, this is our second head-to-head.
Nick Foles.
I picked Kansas City, man.
Nick Foley and Dynamite.
Mahomes is just hard for me to bet against right now.
Yeah, he is. I'm over here laughing at myself.
I think he's not going to have much of a sophomore slump, personally.
Oh no. I mean, what's a sophomore slump for Mahomes? Like only throwing for 4,500 yards?
Oh wait, no, sorry. Last year wasn't his rookie season. That was his second year.
Yeah.
So my bad. Junior slump, which isn't really a thing. It's usually the sophomore slump, and he definitely didn't have that.
Yeah, he broke that ceiling real fast.
Yep. But I think he's going to have a good year, and I think it's going to start right here in Jacksonville.
Yeah. I can see. I only picked Jacksonville because I really like their cornerbacks. I love Jalen Ramsey. I love AJ Bouye. Like, skills-wise, personality, they can be a little in your face. Mm-hmm. A lot in your face. And I like their defensive line.
Yeah.
It's one of the most solid in the league.
Yeah.
So I think if they can get pressure on Mahomes, this might be a good game.
Let's see. The next game is the Indianapolis Colts. Not so lucky against the LA Chargers in LA
without Melvin Gordon. So
you're missing. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. You're missing Gordon and Luck. So be interesting to see how this game shapes up.
Yeah,
got a lot
there,
to prove.
I pick Indy, of course.
Yeah,
but without Luck, I had to go with the Chargers.
Yeah, I did too. Cincinnati at Seattle. I picked Seattle.
Yeah, that's a gimme.
New York Giants at Dallas. I picked Dallas.
Even though TJ wanted to pick the Giants.
Well, as much as I've been talking the Giants and Daniel Jones up, who's not the starter yet, it's hard to bet against Dallas at their home opener in the first week.
Yeah, I mean, we're
or just Dallas at home in general.
We get it done at home in that first game, especially if we're playing the Giants. Historically, I mean, we might drop 1 to them every other season. Yep. Like since they've had Eli, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think we're just going to key on Saquon, and that would be it.
I think so too.
Yep.
We'll finish off the afternoon games with Detroit at Arizona. I picked Arizona.
I also picked Arizona, even though this one was tough.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Two not so hot teams.
Got a rookie quarterback just getting shoved out there.
Could be a good game. Yeah. Could be an ugly game.
I think it's going to be one of those like 12-10 games or something.
Rounding off the afternoon games, you have San Francisco also traveling coast to coast all the way to Tampa Bay to face the Bucs. I picked the Bucs. I usually wouldn't, but Garoppolo hasn't been looking so great.
That's true. That's my same reasoning for picking the Bucs on this one.
I'm curious to see what Bruce Arians puts together here.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sunday night, you have Pittsburgh at New England, high-profile game. I picked New England.
I picked Pittsburgh, man.
We are definitely going head-to-head on that one.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard for me to pick against New England at home, especially in a straight-up pick-em. They are a tough team no matter what, but especially at home.
That's true. I've just known... I know that historically... I think I've said historically way too many times. But... I mean, in the past, New England has came out slow, like the first half of the season. That's the same reason I didn't pick Green Bay in the Thursday night game.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will also add to your point that Pittsburgh historically plays New England well, especially in the regular season.
Very true.
So I did think about this one for a minute, but my gut sticks with New England at home.
I just think Pittsburgh has a chip on their shoulder. All this drama
I'm sure they do.
I think they're going to come out and try and smack them in the mouth, and that could bite them in the end.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Got to prove something to old AB crying his eyes out over in Oakland. Speaking of Oakland, the Monday night games. You have 2 this week because it's week 1.
You got the late and the late.
And, yep, yeah, exactly. You have the late with Houston and New Orleans. I picked New Orleans.
I also picked New Orleans.
Okay. That is at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hard to pick against.
Monday, September 9th.
Hard to pick against that Saints team when they've pretty much kept their entire offense.
Yeah, and Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew Brees.
And then the late, you got Denver at Oakland. I picked Oakland.
I also picked Oakland. I couldn't bring myself to pick Denver, even though this just seems like the match of the dumpster fires. Dumpster.
Let's have a little fun with this, and we'll do a tiebreaker. What do you think the overall points in both of Monday night games will be? This will be our tiebreaker if we happen to tie.
See, I think the Houston New Orleans is gonna be a barn burner, possibly, with the Deshaun Watson and Drew Brees kind of going back and forth. So my gut wants me to say 45 overall. Well,
between both games,
I'm gonna go 55. Both games.
I'm going with 63.
Okay.
I think Houston and New Orleans could be a shootout.
I think so.
It's early in the season to have a shootout, but I think those would be the 2 teams to do
at
it.
least 4 touchdowns on each team type stuff. Yeah.
And then these West Coast games, you never know, man. It seems like a lot of games that happen between the West Coast teams, more specifically the AFC West, they tend to have some high-scoring, high-profile games from what I've seen.
Oakland could get out there and just AB could actually show out or something. You never know.
You never know. Well, that wraps it up for football talk this week. We're going to listen to a quick ad from Rise Up Podcast Community, and we'll come back, talk baseball with TJ, and talk a little UFC, and wrap up the show.
I'm Ty Yeager, and I want to introduce you to the Rise Up Podcast Community, a community for podcasters created by podcasters, dedicated to the promotion and growth of podcasts everywhere. Rise Up is not a network. There are no contracts and no control over your content. Just a vessel for you to spread the word of your work and connect with fellow podcasters to collaborate, create, and promote. And guess what? It doesn't cost you a single cent to join the community. Join the Rise Up Podcast community today by visiting our website at bit.ly/riseuppodcommunity and follow the community on Twitter at RUPodCommunity. Again, that's bit.ly/riseuppodcommunity and at RUPodCommunity on Twitter. Come and join the community of podcasts and rise up with us. Rise Up Podcast Community.
All right, we are back. No Timeouts Left, episode 23. Time for some baseball talk.
Just a bit outside.
And I'm here with our new third co-host, info man, social media manager, what have you. He's been doing a great job helping us out, getting the show back in order. TJ Franz, what's going on, man?
What's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot. I'm good, man. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me here, man.
Yeah, good to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into some baseball talk?
I mean, I just do what all other adults do and just work, pay bills, and, just catch up to date on my sports.
There you go.
Nothing else better to do.
Working man, baseball fan.
Oh, yeah, big-time baseball fan. I got a lot of family from New York, and, of course, it's either Yankees or Mets, so...
Yeah.
Majority of them are Mets, so I had to go with the Yankees.
Hey, I feel that. You got to go with greatness, man.
Oh, yeah.
The Mets have had a little greatness, but nobody's had the greatness of the Yankees in the MLB.
Well, not horrible.
So, let's get to it. We'll start off with records and milestones for the week, and we'll talk a little bit about injuries and some notable games that we watched or kept up with this week, and we'll do a little playoff talk. Records and milestones. Twins break the MLB record with their 268th home run. I think they've had more of the season on Saturday night. They passed the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
League record.
Yeah,
man.
What's crazy is they actually even lost that game that night.
Yep, they did. Who were they playing? I forgot.
I'm not too sure. I was just looking at it a minute ago, but...
Then you got Mike Trout steals his 200th base. What can this guy not do?
Fly. That's the only thing I could think of.
Man, Mike Trout is the man with the Angels. It's a pretty impressive feat to have it this early in his career, too. 200 bases, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, and he's not even, I don't think, been in the league that long, has he?
No. 5-6 years maybe?
Yeah, so he's not even pushing 30 yet.
Yeah, he's young. Steven Strasburg, somebody I haven't heard talked about a whole lot like he was early in his career, but he torched the Marlins the other night with 14 strikeouts, man. Looking like his old self.
Can he keep it going, though, is the question.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully so. I'd love to see him get back with it. He was a great pitcher when he was young, so if he can keep it going, great, man. And then another pitcher, Justin Verlander, with his third no-hitter. He's up there with Nolan Ryan. Pretty impressive feat. Justin Verlander, Hall of Famer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was definitely kind of scared of Verlander for the Yankees when he was with Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
That was never a good thing for us.
Yeah, no. And he did this with Houston, with the Houston cap on, and I would say he's a Hall of Famer before that game anyway.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely a champ.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I saw people debating that on Twitter, and I was just like, really?
There's nothing to
It
debate
took
about
that third no-hitter to make him a Hall of Famer? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, even before the second and first, I mean, he was just... He's a consistent pitcher. He's always there. He's your go-to guy. I mean, every pitcher has their down days, but not as many. He don't have that many at all.
Right. Great player. We'll talk about some injuries. Giants reliever Reyes Moronta to undergo MRI on throwing shoulder. They might have the results by now. I'm sure they do. I haven't seen it yet. He left the game Saturday night versus the Padres, fell to the mound in pain. I'm not exactly sure what he did.
I mean, how many pitches did he throw before that happened?
I didn't catch that. I don't think it was a whole lot. It was pretty early in the game, wasn't it?
I think it was fourth inning.
I feel
like it was fourth inning.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Not good. I mean, they need him. He's a good pitcher. I hate to see him get hurt.
Oh, yeah. That's never a good thing. You never want to wish that kind of injury on a player.
Yeah, and then a pitcher who's been kind of dealing with some health issues off and on, Yu Darvish, pulled from the lineup in Sunday's game versus the Brewers due to tightness in right forearm. Hopefully nothing too serious. Tyler Chatwood to start in place of him, or he did start in place of him. Notable games of the week, you had Yankees have a doubleheader with the A's, and they won both games, and they win both off of a walk-off?
Yes, they did.
Jeez. I mean, how was that game? Did you watch any of it?
I caught a little bit of it. I mean, it was good. I mean, yeah, one of them, the Yankees beat Oakland A's 4-3 the first time this year with a walk-off homer. This was in the first game. And the 11th by DJ LeMahieu. Saturday night pushing the A's down in their wild card position. Walk-off to win the second of a doubleheader.
It's dangerous when they're helping the A's in the wild card position because they're helping the Rays, their division rival, my team.
Yeah.
So we might see you down the line.
Hey, I wouldn't mind it. Nothing against you guys.
Hey, no, I've always said, and I say this especially to Boston Red Sox fans because they definitely get this comment, but the Rays are definitely the pesky little brother of the AL East.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I could see it.
You got the Yankees being the oldest brother. You got the Red Sox being the next oldest, and then you got the Rays, and they're always fighting and scrapping, trying to get up in there.
Hey, the youngins got to come up sometime.
We had the 1 year, and
they can bounce back.
We lost to the Phillies, man. Come on. I'm just not big on the Phillies, but anyway, speaking of the Rays, they defeat the Indians to help them stay alive in the wild card race, and they, at the time of these notes, they were then tied with Oakland. I'm not sure of the standings just yet. I'll pull those up. And we'll do a little playoff talk. All right, so the way the playoffs are looking now, you've got Houston, the Yankees, and Minnesota all at the top of the AL still. And you've got Tampa Bay and Cleveland. Tampa Bay is actually now owning the top wild card spot, passing Cleveland. Those two teams are just hanging in there. You got the A's kind of falling out of it now. It's not good. They've lost 2 in a row, like we just said, to the Yankees. Boston finding their way kind of back into the hunt there. Not a whole lot of time left, but they're trying to make a push for it. And then after that, you get the Rangers, the Angels, and the White Sox. I think they're all out of it at this point.
Yeah, I would definitely count them out. Red Sox only 5 games back. Anything's possible with as many games as left.
Right. Over in the NL, you have St. Louis, the LA Dodgers, and Atlanta, I think, have all been kind of owning their divisions.
Yeah.
For a little while now, and then still Washington and Chicago Cubs rounding out the wild card. Philadelphia hanging in there, Arizona making a push, Milwaukee making a push, New York Mets making a push. I mean, there's the NL, like we said last week, is a little tight knit compared to the AL. I want to know your predictions on this. Who's going to make the wild card in the AL and the NL?
In the AL, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, depending on what they can do, the Sox might be able to push it in. I mean, Tampa Bay is only a game ahead of everybody in the wild card. So, I mean, Cleveland, I could see falling out. I've never really had a lot of faith in Cleveland.
Yeah, I could see them falling out or just losing the wild card game if they get in, especially if they play Tampa, because Tampa just beat them. So, yeah, I could see Boston making a push. I think if anybody's going to make a push in the AL, it's going to be Boston to get in there, and you're going to have an AL East heavy playoff. Then in the NL, I think it's going to come down to Washington and Philly. I think Chicago's going to drop out of it.
I don't know. I think I could go Washington, definitely, for sure. For sure, Washington. I wouldn't mind seeing the Cubs up there again.
I wouldn't either. I mean, I'm a big Joe Madden fan. But something tells me they're going to... Philly's playing hot right now.
That they are.
And Washington's still hanging right where they've been. They're 4 games up on Chicago. So they're a little comfortable right now, but you got a whole month to go.
Exactly.
So a lot can change. That's pretty much it for the wild card race, and pretty much it for baseball this week. And we're going to call a little audible. I'm going to hop off of here. We're going to have Mike and TJ cover some UFC, and then we're going to do some Champs versus Chumps and close out the show.
All right. Money Mike Phillips here with TJ Franz. What's up, my man?
What's going on, bro?
You ready to talk some UFC, Bubba?
I mean, are you ready? It's the real question.
Man, I was born ready, son. Let's do this. What do you got for us, man?
Man, got Zhang Weili defeats Jessica Andrade in 42 seconds in the first round fight night on Saturday.
Man, that was killer.
And the best thing about it is she's the one that actually, Jessica Andrade was the one that beat Rose Namajunas.
Yeah, slammed her on her head.
And knocked her out.
Yeah, that was a crazy one.
That was totally off guard.
Yeah. No,
so I was not expecting that.
Because she was definitely losing that fight.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Rose Namajunas is just a beast, man.
But Zhang, man, she came in and her Muay Thai was on full display.
Oh, yeah.
Like the whole time she had her in the clinch, was hitting her in the ribs with knees, the face with knees, solid elbows.
It was crazy. It was madness. But the best thing about it, though, is she won the strawweight belt. And not only that, she was actually the first ever Chinese-born champion in UFC history.
Killing it. And they did that in China, right?
Yes, they did.
That fight was in China.
That's awesome.
Of course she's going to win.
Cool.
Of course she's going to win.
So.
Got to.
Other than that, your boy coming back, hopefully in 2020.
Oh, yeah?
Mr. Anthony Rumble Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean.
I like that.
What do you think about that, man?
I like it, man. I always liked watching Rumble Johnson fight, man. I mean, the dude's solid. Who do you think he's going to fight, though?
I mean, I don't know. I heard something about Ngannou, but I don't think that would.
I don't think you throw him to the wolves like that.
Nah, I wouldn't do that. I said personally, if John Jones wants to move up to heavyweight, just go ahead and put it off right there. John Jones' first fight in heavyweight against Rumble Johnson coming back.
Oh, no.
I mean, that would be nice.
I think John Jones has got him.
I mean, he could. I mean, of course, I got to go for John Jones, but that would still be a cool little setup fight.
That would be
right
a great
there.
fight.
And
a lot of money in that fight.
Yeah. Then the winner should get Ngannou.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe face Stipe. But I don't think
Stipe's
nobody's
gotta
ready
have
for
a fight
that.
before then. He's got to.
Yeah.
And Ngannou's probably next in line.
You think they give it to DC?
Maybe. It's a possibility.
Go ahead and give him
It's
the
a strong
trilogy right off
possibility.
the back.
That's if DC wants it, because at the end of the fight, it didn't seem like he was interested in a third.
I'm a big John Jones fan, but you got to give credit where credit's due, and DC is a monster.
Yeah, he was great.
He's a goat. I mean, you gotta say it, champ, man. I mean, Conor did it, but we've seen what happened.
We've seen a lot of people do it now.
Yeah.
Cejudo.
I don't have nothing to say about Cejudo.
I don't like talking about it.
We're not going to talk about Cejudo. But not only that, though, Chris Cyborg actually got signed to Bellator.
I saw that coming. I think on the episode when we were talking about her dispute with the UFC.
Yep.
I actually said that. I was like, she's probably going to go to Bellator.
Yeah.
Kind of laughing, but I knew.
I mean, that's good for her, though. Good for her for getting, still being able to be out there and fighting. I mean, getting signed, making money, and she's going to take it.
Oh,
she's coming in there and knocking people
gonna
out.
Destroy people.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't, it's probably...
If she loses, I'm sure she'll be done. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. But even if she doesn't do well in Bellator, that's a big name for them. I mean, they've been sneaking some names.
You could just throw her with the guys up there.
Oh, nah.
Just go and put her in there.
No. What is the intergender champion the Cejudo's talking about? We keep bringing him up.
God.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's Cejudo for you.
Let's go Damian Maia.
Man. And Ben Askren?
He's getting another... Yeah, Damian Maia. That's who I was thinking of. Ben Askren's fighting Damian Maia.
Yeah. I don't like Ben Askren. I'm not going to lie.
I would like to see him lose again.
That would be I would enjoy it. I love the Masvidal fight. I really hope he gets that fight with Diaz.
Do you think Masvidal went too far when he laid on the ground?
Nah, man, that was perfect.
That was hilarious.
That was perfect. You couldn't have did that any better.
It was bad.
I mean, just that fight. I remember watching that fight, and I was so happy when it happened.
That's how I can tell that Masvidal's he was a street fighter at one point. He's gotten in a lot of scraps if he's doing that kind of petty stuff.
Yeah. I think the first time I ever seen him fight was in Kimbo's videos.
Oh,
his Backstreet Balls, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a monster. And you can just see from where he started there all the way now, the progress, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That is so crazy. All right. Keep it all moving. What else you got for me?
There's not a whole lot more left, but, you got UFC 242.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's been waiting on that. That is the Saturday.
And you said it starts at 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock Central Time in Abu Dhabi.
Well... Looks like I got my afternoon planned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cannot miss that fight. I mean, there's a good couple cards on there. One good card is going to be on there I'm pretty excited about, other than Khabib and Poirier, of course, is Edson Barboza fighting.
Oh, yeah. Deadly kicks with Edson Barboza.
Oh, yeah. And, you can't... He's coming off, 2 losses?
Oh, he's going to be wanting it. He's going to be wanting it bad.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one. And I'm pretty sure he's fighting Felder.
Paul Felder?
Paul Felder.
Oh, yeah.
So
that'll be a good little scrap.
It's going to be good. I'm going to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. You think who you putting money on if you had to right now?
I would never put any money against Barboza.
Yeah, I like Barboza.
That's like
money on him too.
Me liking LSU and putting money against Bama.
We do this when we watch UFC together. It's always we'll see the little intros and stuff, and we start looking at each other, and we're like, I got 5 on this guy.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
It's funny.
And it's just, it's good times.
At the most, what are we betting? $20 on the main event?
On 20? Oh, I'll put, I don't know.
I
can't put money against Khabib either.
Nothing on Dustin Poirier.
If he's going to tackle him, man, if he's going to take it to the ground, it's going to be over.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a done deal. The dude's a bully. You don't see wrestlers like that in UFC because he don't really strike a whole lot.
Wrestles bears.
Yeah, dude, you wrestled a bear.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He's done it multiple times. Yeah,
as a kid,
just a bear,
and I think he still has this bear.
He said recently in an interview they were like, "What's the last time you wrestled a bear?" And he was like, "A couple weeks ago," something like that. I don't know if he's joking. I can never tell if he's joking. He's weird.
I think he's pretty serious. I don't think he speaks nothing but the truth.
Cold-blooded killer.
We've seen silence kills whenever he faced McGregor. So
let's talk now.
Yeah, it was only business, guys. You gotta remember it was only business.
As he's cowering. Oh God.
But it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a really good fight.
Any other good fights on the card besides the Barboza or?
There's actually one more fight that I wouldn't mind talking about, and that's Curtis Blades.
Oh yeah.
11-2. Fighting Shamil. I'm just gonna say Shamil because I can't pronounce this last name.
Can't do it.
I can't do it. I'm not gonna try it.
All right, don't butcher it.
But he's 20-4. So Curtis Blades, if he wins, what do you think? You think maybe he can get closer to a title shot?
Possibly. It's possible.
I think he's ranked 4th in the heavyweight division.
He ain't doing too bad. He's gonna have to face one of those other 2 dudes before he gets
2 or 3.
Yeah.
They're 3 in front of him.
I'd say 2.
Is it 4?
I'd say 2.
Yeah, he's got it.
Ngannou for sure. You got to get past Ngannou.
Yeah.
You got to get past Ngannou. Hey, maybe give him John Jones.
I don't know if he wants those problems.
John Jones has got to get up in the mix some way,
man. I just
some
don't
way,
know.
somehow.
John Jones is comfortable at the top of the light heavyweight right now. He's just chilling.
He could do some damage in heavyweight.
Yeah,
I mean, his reach
true.
is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he's a monster. Nobody in heavyweight's touching him either.
No, definitely not.
I would like to see Brock Lesnar. That would be hilarious.
I mean,
because Brock Lesnar called him out, didn't he?
That's like a fantasy fight.
That would be hilarious.
That's like something you would pick in the old UFC when you didn't have weight divisions.
Yes.
You just pick anybody.
Yes.
So
I would totally do that.
Oh God.
But all right, man. Nothing else in the UFC world?
No, man. I mean, just, if anybody does want to get up-to-date news in the UFC, check out my boys, Ian and Jay, the Fight Game Community, Facebook.
Hey.
Always up-to-date on the news. I appreciate it, guys. We always get a lot of y'all stuff, stuff
awesome.
from y'all. So
thanks for helping us out. Thanks for participating. We really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it, guys. And thanks for having me here, fellas.
Hey, no problem, man. I hope to have you back. Well, we're going to have you back. You're, permanent now. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere.
I mean, no, I've got a lot of stuff I got to do.
No. Where's the ball and chain? Austin?
He's got to move in.
Oh, yeah.
This is your new room.
Yeah,
I'm not
we didn't
going
tell
nowhere,
you.
guys.
The
Don't
door
worry.
locks from the outside, so you're stuck.
Well, all right, you know where I'm at.
Well, it's time to get into some champs versus chumps. Let's do it, y'all. All right, it's time for some champs versus chumps. We will start off with our first champ being All Elite Wrestling, the show All Out being a successful pay-per-view. It was a great show if you're a wrestling fan, and if you're not, you should go check it out because it's a different product than what you normally see.
Yeah, boy.
All right.
Chris Jericho ended up with the belt, right?
He did. Chris Jericho is the, as he is calling it, the youngest AEW champion. This is the first. So it's a pretty good little deal right there. And supposedly the belt was literally stolen while he was at dinner. But that might be at work. So we'll wait to see. That might be a chump next week if it's not. Speaking of chumps, we'll start off with our first chump. And I had to add this one in. It's SEC football for looking a little weak.
A little chink in the armor.
I gotta say it's not too terribly weak overall. They're still the strong teams. I just feel like there's more of a disparity between the stronger teams and the weaker teams in the SEC. And the weaker teams are looking weaker than normal because weaker teams in SEC typically
still
do well.
Do something.
Yeah. And you had Georgia State defeat University of Tennessee.
Let me tell you about that.
Yeah, you had the returning Mac Brown and the North Carolina Tar Heels defeat South Carolina. You had Memphis defeat Ole Miss, and you had Wyoming defeat Missouri.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of Memphis on that one, honestly, because I remember I was texting you guys during the game, and I was like, they might pull it out.
Yeah, and they did. That was kind of crazy. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Not at all.
And then Auburn barely beat Oregon. I mean, it's probably something to say that Oregon's looking a little stronger this year, but, typically SEC teams handle Oregon pretty well most of the time. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've seen them play Alabama a few times.
Yeah.
That's true. The Mariota heyday.
And then to close out on that, Florida barely beat Miami too. It was a close game.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if Miami's back or Florida's just a little weaker than we thought they were at number 8.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like just everything about the NCAA football that first week is just so. It's just so up in the air. Everybody's just like scrambling. Is what it feels like to me. Like, I just want to see. I want to see the next few weeks, see how it goes, because then that starts to create the big picture. You start to see those teams that pull ahead. It's just one game. You really don't know what's going on right now.
Right.
It seems like such chaos, but we're just trudging right along, man.
Yeah. We're going to stick with college football and actually the same
Little topic there. Our next champ is Georgia State, 2-10 last year, an FCS team beating University of Tennessee.
Yeah, that was ugly. That was actually pretty crazy. I mean, Georgia State, I found out this little fact, and I think it's hilarious. Y'all remember Appalachian State?
Oh, yeah.
When they beat the 5th-ranked Michigan in 2007?
Yeah. I remember that.
Guess who was a coach? An assistant coach for that Appalachian State team.
Who's that?
The head coach of Georgia State.
Oh,
Coach Sean Elliott.
Interesting.
So he knows a thing or two about upsets.
That's true.
He actually was close to beating Wisconsin in 2016. It was 23-17 in that game.
Was that Georgia State or?
Georgia State.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So he's been building them up for the past couple of years, you know?
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll make him the champ rather than Georgia State itself.
Dude, Georgia State is also a champ because they received $950,000.
Yeah, that's true.
Just for making the trip to Knoxville.
They got paid to do that.
They got paid to whoop them. That's insane.
Speaking of whoopings, our next champ is defensive end from Lehigh, Davis Maxey, channeling his inner Goldberg and crushing the punter of St. Francis with a nice spear. If
that
you
was
haven't
that video
seen
you
that,
sent me, right?
Yeah. If you haven't seen that, you need to go watch that. Just look up exactly what I just said. Davis Maxey, Lehigh, and St. Francis. That's probably all you need to put.
Goldberg.
that might take you away from it. It might work. I don't know. Sticking with college football, once again, another chump. Florida State for dropping the lead to Boise State and losing at home, like we mentioned earlier.
Crusher.
Also having to move the game location due to weather. It's not their fault. We're going to say that's just a chump in and of itself, and then move the time up and having to discount tickets. It was just kind of a mess because of the hurricane.
Yeah.
So,
at least we got to see him play.
And then Willie Taggart yesterday, or maybe it was this morning, I can't remember, said that they played so poorly because of dehydration. So
really,
I don't know about that.
So give them a little more water.
Yeah. Well, that high quality H2O.
Yeah. Water sucks.
We like to make a lot of Waterboy references on the show.
Dude. I love my Waterboy.
Hence my name.
Speaking of Waterboy, I had this thought while I was listening to another podcast, some like SEC podcast, and it was they had LSU's head coach on there. Mm-hmm. What's his name again, teacher? Yeah, they had him on there. He sounds exactly like that dude from Waterboy. Like,
oh yeah,
mud hogs are going to the bourbon bowl. Like, that's how he reminds me of that dude so bad, dude.
Oh man, I haven't heard that. I need to listen to that. That's awesome.
His voice is just like he's chewing on gravel the whole time.
All right, we'll do another chump, and that is the New York Giants for storming the field like they won the Super Bowl after beating the Patriots in the last preseason game. It's preseason, man.
I can't help but laugh. Jeez. That's just...
it's preseason. There's no need for all that.
Hey, the third string guys got excited. They got really excited.
Yeah, they did. Bo Nix is our next champ. Probably the biggest champ of the week.
That dude's a beast.
Yeah. Like we were talking about earlier, led a nice comeback in the fourth quarter for the Auburn Tigers to take a victory over Oregon. And man, what a bunch of plays he threw together in the fourth quarter to just bring it home.
Right at that like 5-minute mark in the third quarter is when he just like something switched with him. Mm-hmm. He was like, okay, time to act serious.
Yep.
It's like when you're playing Madden and you start falling behind. You know you can beat the guy, so you're just like, now I gotta sit up in my chair. Like, that was Nix, right? Like,
yep. We're gonna switch gears and move on to some basketball chumps. That would be Kobe for claiming he would have won 12 rings, quote, had Shaq been in shape, end quote.
I love it.
Come on, man.
I love it.
That's trash.
That's hilarious.
That's trash. I'm sorry. That's not the case.
Oh,
Kobe.
No. Maybe, like, you might want to won, like, 2 more. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with him on the fact. It's just the number. Like, 12, that's a bit much.
Like, come on, man.
That's a bit much. We'll do some fans sent in champs versus chumps. We got a few this week. Chris from the Fight Game community chooses BJ Penn as his chump for getting KO'd by a fat shirtless guy in outside a bar. That's
pretty chump-like behavior
When you're
right
a former
there.
champion, you cannot be outside of a bar drunk getting knocked out by just anyone. That's not.
Jeez.
Come on, man. You shouldn't be fighting civilians in the first place, honestly.
No, absolutely not. I mean, well, if he's got his license, he technically can't. But no, he shouldn't do that. That's ridiculous. And he got whooped, so got what he got.
Yeah, there you go.
Jay out of Denver, Colorado, in the fight game community, gives a couple of champs. You got Tyron Woodley, as we mentioned just a minute ago, for trying to elevate his game, training with other camps such as GSPs and the Diaz brothers.
Solid.
Darren Till with another champ for taking a dangerous fight off the rip against Kevin Gastelum. Even after others tried to talk him out of it for wanting to fight the best.
Hey, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Yeah.
So
hey,
I tip my hat to him too.
Little Ric Flair there. To be the man, you got to beat the man.
After losing 2 in a row real quick, like, you got to bounce back and make a splash some way, you know? He's even like coming up a weight class to a couple. I think he's coming from welter to middle.
Yeah.
So he's got to gain a good 15 pounds to come up and fight. So
he also mentions KD and Kyrie as champs for backing up Melo and campaigning for him to be picked up by the Nets to play with him. That's hey, that's a good one right there.
We were talking about Melo getting blackballed in the last episode.
Hey man, maybe this is his chance to get back in.
He's a solid, like, I heard somebody else say it, but he could give you a solid 15 points, like, on a regular basis. It's just a matter of, like, how much can he actually contribute to the win column, you know?
Right.
Like, there's plenty of people that can give you 15 points, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, right. David from the Fight Game gives us his chump card to former UFC fighter Melvin Gillard. I'm not good with some of those names. For following BJ Penn's trend and fighting outside a bar. Why is this a thing? Why is this happening? Jeez.
Like, I'm waiting for it, dude. Like, Nate Diaz gonna be next.
Yikes. We got Josh from Seffner, Florida, stationed in Korea. His champ is Andrew Luck for retiring on his terms, as we talked about last week. And his chump, as we have been talking about for a long time, is Antonio Brown for throwing more hissy fits over the helmet and losing 2 legal battles over it. You are not wrong, Josh.
Sheesh.
And our final fan sent in champ versus chump. We had the champs sent in by @Palmer Sedlowski on Twitter. The Yankees for leading the AL East, the league. And and the first 2 90 wins in this season. So pretty good one right there.
Yeah.
They are on a tear. I mean, the Yankees have, despite all their injuries this year, like we've been talking about, it's
next man up mentality right there.
Yeah, next man up. There you go. And we'll close out Champs versus Chumps with our final few. I had to throw this one in there and mentioned it before. Mac Brown, not only for leading the formerly 2-9 University of North Carolina Tar Heels to victory over South Carolina, but his legendary moves in the locker room after picking up the win. If you haven't seen him dancing after that game, it's pretty funny.
It looks like they like electric shocked like a corpse and just got him to like move. Like,
oh man, it was good. It's good to see him feeling good, man. Mac Brown was great at Texas.
They definitely had the locker room hype after he got down. Which is all that matters.
The kids in the locker room were eating that up.
You want them to have fun, you know? 'Cause then they play harder.
Yeah, exactly.
End of the day.
You gotta have fun playing ball, man. Another chump, Nick Kyrgios, reaching a codes violation and yelling profanities at the umpire in the second set, and then complaining that fans were getting up to leave during his serve. Go home, dude.
Yeah, it's all over, bro.
Our final chump is Oscar De La Hoya for lying on ESPN about fair pay for UFC fighters and claiming that Dana White underpaid his fighters. Dana White comes back on ESPN First Take and calls him out and crushes him with the real numbers of his numbers versus Oscar's numbers, and it actually kind of shows the reverse of what Oscar was saying. So, hey, man, put your money where your mouth is. Good job.
You're like, what's up? We know what we're doing over here. You mind your business.
Yep. Just, that's a mess, man. Just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, our last champ
of Champs vs. Chumps this week is tennis phenom Coco Gauff continuing to show out, becoming the youngest woman to reach the third round of the U.S. Open since Anna Kournikova in 1996. Jeez. And then she faced Naomi Osaka, the defending champ, and won.
Dang.
She's still going.
She's killing it, man.
So,
killing it.
Hats off to her. She's only 15 years old, I believe.
Jeez.
Yeah, she's crushing it.
The pressure.
No pressure, man. She's doing well. So that's it for Champs vs. Chumps. We thank everybody for joining us yet again for another episode. You can find us at No Timeouts Left on Twitter and on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. Just look up No Timeouts Left podcast. We are on Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe, rate, and review. Please click that follow button if you go to our Twitter or Instagram or Podbean or SoundCloud. Make sure you follow along every week with No Timeouts Left. You can find me at Coach Klein 90 on Twitter, at Coach Klein 54 on Instagram. Where can they find you, Mike?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram, both the same at. It's going to be MICFILLUPS. Holla.
And that's it for No Timeouts Left, episode 23. We appreciate you joining us. Make sure to send in more Champs vs. Chumps, and we'll read them off every week. And we'll see you next time.
Take a tease.